help. So originally, I thought it was going to be about 2 weeks of work at most, right? Just set up their main website, do a little bit of stuff here and there, and simple cybersecurity stuff like password resets or help desk work, right? Eventually, it turned into a huge ransomware attack from the IT guy. I ended up having to rebuild everything in the cafe. So, for example, I had to start their routers all over. I had to get them new website. I had to learn and configure all sorts of stuff. I also had to put stuff throughout the wires on top, throughout the ceilings to set it up. They also went through multiple phishing attacks, which wasn't fun. And it was a definite learning process, but eventually by the end, I ended up training them on how to prevent cybersecurity attacks. I taught them the basics of all sort of cybersecurity practices, and I even was able to learn how to start a business from it that made me earn so far about $1,500. So it took off pretty well, and anyone can really do it. It doesn't take much. Like, sure, you feel a little bit over, like, there's certain times where I felt like, oh, I'm in over my head. I need to do this. I need to do that. But it paid my rent last month. It was really good. So
Damn.
you can definitely get this anywhere, you know?
That's amazing. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have a question. So,
Yes, ma'am.
like, what kind of like a software you choose? Is this like a mid-size or like for this cafe? Like, what kind of software, cybersecurity software that you choose for them to use, or like.
So for when it comes to cybersecurity, the main thing is they just kept giving away their passwords. So for example, they have, when you search up a restaurant, what do you guys use? Google. They gave away their Gmail passwords. They gave away everything. So even if I did give them a security software, it wouldn't really matter if they give away the password to it. So I started it off with the root of, first, let's fix the Google profile that was taken from them. Next, let's fix the website that was taken from them. And then eventually, once I built all the infrastructure towards the end, then I started doing stuff, for example, like I would add security systems to their computers. I told them to add a pin to their laptop, which they never did. And that's where all their orders came through, you know? So at the end of the day, it wasn't about, oh, how many security systems do I have set up, this, that, third. It's just mostly about the whole idea of zero trust, just making sure that they understood that they can't just give out all the information, that, hey, your website is kind of private, you shouldn't pass out your email. Because eventually it got to the point where we had to, for example, they fell for one of the phishing attacks during the month that I worked with them. And one of the phishing attacks led to them losing all their identity. Like, they leaked their social security, they leaked it to many people. And then we had to call the IRS, cancel the credit cards, pause everything, this, that sort of thing. So it's really important that you get training on that sort of stuff before you go into like the whole nitty gritty of what security software is best, because there's no all encompassing thing that's going to cover human error, you know?
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool. 123. Do I have an IT job or anything before helping them? No, I only did help desk at my local school, and that's about it. I'm right now looking for more opportunities in cybersecurity and whatnot. So, yeah. Does anyone else have any questions?
Yeah. My internet like dropped me like in the beginning when you were talking. Um, can you,
Uh,
how did you end up like how did you get connected with that? It was a cafe, right?
it was just a local cafe. I just ate there every weekend. To be honest, every 2 days I'd go there. So it all worked out, you know?
Gotcha. And how did that
Yeah.
whole thing start again? Like how did you start like helping
The
them and all that?
So the original IT guy, so this is an elderly couple. They share the same cell phone. They share everything.
Hmm.
Like, they had no tech experience whatsoever. And they decided to outsource their IT for the very first time in 2012. Essentially, that same IT person had all their login information. They took care of the domain. They took care of everything, right?
Hmm.
And because of that, eventually, after he was finished up with, for example, all the commissions, the monthly fees, he wanted more. Eventually, he got fed up. He wanted more money on the back end. And
Oh,
he said, hey, you need to pay us more on top of that because what I've done. But at the end of the day, all that he did was just host the website, and that's it.
I
So
gotcha. And then did you just ask them like, "Hey, do you want me to help you to like set up your security or how did that like go?"
to be honest, they just asked me for advice, and I just gave it them straight up.
Oh
And
wow.
then they told me the whole situation, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I can actually help you. And I didn't want any money for it, and it just led to me starting this whole thing, and it worked.
Damn,
You know,
that's awesome. Dang, congrats on that. That's really cool.
appreciate you,
Yeah. Yeah, and thanks for sharing by the way. That's really appreciate it.
of course.
Cool.
Yeah. Does anyone else have any questions, or am I cool to turn into another profile picture?
Yeah, you can. I can just like go back to answering chat, I guess, unless anyone gonna say anything.
Oh,
At any
brother.
point, was there something that you didn't know, and how
Um,
did you get past that hump?
yes. So one thing I realized very quickly is two things. Restaurant websites are a lot more complicated than they look, especially if the website has every single menu item. So the local cafe, while it is small and it's run by an elderly couple and their son, they had over 170 main items, and each of them had their own like modifier. So for example, no lettuce, no cheese, no this, and each one is unique to whatever item category it is. So when you have to build the website, you have to take that in consideration. How do you make that look good? How do you build it in a way where it makes sense, you know? Another thing I didn't realize is the vendor situation, where if you don't have the right vendor to back you during at least, for example, if they want to put in an order, for example, they use something called Toast, or if you ever heard of Square, for example, different websites will have different backends that they use to make sure things are easier. So that way things become a lot easier for them in the future. I decided, all right, let's have half of it be a website and the other half being the menu ordering system, the backend. And then I just ordered the right, for example, they needed Cisco routers, they needed wiring done, they needed to do a lot more stuff. So I just built it all up for them. And then now, if they ever need help, they don't have to call me. They can call someone from Toast. They can call someone from GoDaddy or hosting or whatever other platforms that they want. And it frees me up for whatever else I need to do. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Yeah, I just asked a question in the chat, but I can ask it. I was just curious, do you have like a lot of experience before this, like, or did you have to learn a lot as it came to you? Like,
I've
was a lot of it new, like running wire through the ceiling, or like teaching somebody how to be like cyber secure?
So fortunately, I had the experience of teaching kids before. I had the experience of teaching other people before, but I never really had experience teaching people cybersecurity practices. And when it came to like wiring through the ceiling, for example, right? I didn't really even have the glasses for it. One day my friend took me shooting from the gun range, right? And the glasses I used to like wear, like the safety goggles, was the same one I got from the actual range. Since I never done this before,
Yeah.
instead of me getting a ladder, I got a stool. I just learned as I went, and eventually it just clicked. Little things would work here, little things would work there, and then it becomes easier over time. And when I say anyone can get into it, I mean anyone can, because making websites, depending on what's the purpose, can be easier or less. So for example, if I wanted to make my own portfolio website, that's pretty simply done, for example. If you want to make something for a restaurant, that's a little bit more complicated, and you can scale up or down depending on what type of situation you're in. You can provide different packages depending on that. So it works. So yeah, it's definitely something that you can definitely learn for sure. 100%.
That's awesome. Cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be surprised like what you can like learn when you're working, especially like I don't know, this happened to me a lot. I'll see like a job description that has like a whole bunch of stuff on it and I have like no idea what it is, but it just take time to like learn it and practice it and then you will get like an intuition and stuff. But yeah, that's really cool. Oh, someone asks, what did Ahmed did for that restaurant to be called web development or something? Oh, would you call it what you did like a web admin or something like or how would you call?
Um, it was a weird mix of, I want to say, just overall just IT specialist work. You don't even, you could say web development for just that restaurant, web development and IT specialist, because I was teaching them password resets. I was teaching them, for example, their Google profile was taken. How do you get your Google profile back? You have to connect it with a phone number, do two-step verification. They never heard of two-step verification. So now you have to teach them from the forefront, because a lot of us grew up with this tech and we just forget about it. But because a lot of these restaurants are aging out, or even they just don't have the time to deal with it, they either would rather outsource it or just have someone else deal with it. So yeah.
Very cool. And cool 123. This would be a cool story for one of your channels, Josh. Well, I think we can like use this because it's being recorded anyway. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, it is
Uh,
really good. This is pretty much like what I always like tell people to do, to if you want to make your own experience. Um,
yeah.
because even if it's kind of lucky because you not lucky, well, it's lucky for the owner that you were at the cafe like all the time. They could just ask you, but for sure, like if somebody wants to do something similar and they just get a list of like 50 to 100 small businesses and then offer
Yeah.
like some kind of cybersecurity consulting or security like
Hmm.
review or something like this, at least some of them will say yes, and they can probably get in like a similar position, even if it's just like pro bono, like free work, right? It's still like good for your resume. Did you like make a company or like an LLC or something to frame this experience under, or how do you deal with that on your resume?
So to be honest, I still struggle with it to this day. Like, what do I put on my resume as this experience? Because originally I just thought of it as, oh, this is just a project. Then I got another client. Is that just another project, or is that now another experience? Since I was just expecting, oh, we're done, job is finished. Then I got my phone call, two other people say, hey, can you do my website? Hey, could you build this for me? Hey, can you do that? I'm like, oh, that works.
So good.
So yeah,
Yeah, you should make a company and then just like put that on on your resume, you know?
yeah, I probably should.
Yeah, it's good. And then you can kind of like make up your own experience, or you can, because you're basically like your boss or something like this. And are you in this, you're in the side branch, right? That's why you're like in this
Yeah.
call. Yeah, and you
Yes.
can use like Login Pacific as well, or like use me, however you want to. But I think that's like
Okay.
really dope.
Yeah. In fact, I'll probably try to make a post about it either tomorrow or the day after, just trying to, at least on my LinkedIn, to try to fit that the right way? So I appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem. And then Dole is saying something in the YouTube chat. What's Login Pacific? Login Pacific is just it's just my like company. I had to make a company for like tax purposes, and that's just what I named it. Log of N is like a time complexity representation in computer science. You can just look up log of N if you want. Um, Bro, cybersecurity is super crowded. Minimum 100 applications in the first hour of job posting, regardless of company size. So I know what you're saying, but this is not like always true. It's true for jobs where the title is like security analyst and like 10,000 people are like searching for the same job, or if it's a job inside a metro area or something. But I guarantee you can find jobs that don't have like a ton of applicants in them, and that's like one of the things I recommend doing. Like if you search by keyword, like instead of job title, you'll tend to find jobs that have like less applicants. And I always recommend applying to jobs like within the first 24 hours at least, and then jobs that are kind of like obscure and not in giant tech hubs. It's just going to go like a lot better for you. This is for Dole. It's definitely cooked. I landed my current position. I just started last month, had applied to 700 jobs. So I've been keeping track of people in the cyber range, like like the last 20 people, people would submit about they would have to submit about 85 applications for every interview they had, and then on average they would have like 3.5 interviews before they got a job. And it's because they're like really selective about the type of job they apply to, and they like tailor their resume. And there's a lot of work that you can do that if you put in up front, it will like decrease the amount of times you have to apply to get interviews. Uh, JKY raised their hand. What is up?
Yeah, I have a question. I'm actually in the cyber range right now. I pay monthly, but I just saw that I could actually also pay annually, and that will come to like be a lot cheaper.
Oh
So
yeah.
my question is, how do I make, yeah, how do I make the change?
Yeah,
To go
there's
from monthly to annually. Yeah.
I think if you go to the about page, you can just I think that you can. Actually, I don't want to like say some random stuff. I can look it up for you and I can put it in the chat. But you can automatically upgrade, and I think it will prorate you. I think it will like subtract 1 month from the annual fee or something like